Joining us now to discuss this further is Simon Hankinson, Senior Research Fellow at Heritage Foundation's Border Security and Immigration Center. Simon, thank you for joining us today. Can I just ask you first off, what do we know about this cartel leader, Al Bencho, that was killed?
Well, I think most Americans are just hearing about him for the first time, but he's well known among people who study Mexican cartels. He was reportedly the founder of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, which started around 2009. It was a split off from a previous cartel. This seems to happen every so often. They break up because somebody dies or they have a feud. He was a former police officer, as I understand it, and had a reputation for ruthlessness, for being willing to go where other cartel leaders hadn't gone, including one assassination attempt in Mexico City a couple of years ago. They tried to kill someone who's now the one of the senior officials in the Mexican government and may have been actually behind this attempt to bring him in that ended up with him being killed. He was pretty reclusive, as I understand it. He spent most of his time in his mountain lair and not in the cities or in the action. So catching him, or at least trying to, was obviously a major operation, and tragically lost or ended up losing the lives of 25 Mexican security officers.
So what impact will his death have on the operations of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel going forward, do you think?
Well, that remains to be seen. As I said, when you have a powerful leader in these cartels, sometimes there's a successor, and I've heard reports that there are people who would be logically in line to take over, and sometimes that happens. Sometimes the cartel leadership splits and people vie for control, which would mean probably more bloodshed in the streets as they figured out who was in charge. Obviously, this will be disruptive for them, but they made a serious show of force by coming out into the streets, scaring the hell out of a lot of people, burning vehicles, burning buildings, and demonstrating that there's still a force to be reckoned with. So, I don't think this is going to drastically change the trajectory of Mexico, because you still have cartels in control of somewhere between 20 and 80% of the country, depending on who you believe. And they have pretty strong links to the Mexican government by most reports, that doesn't seem willing to root them out, root and branch all of them.
So can you talk to us a little bit more about this response, this reaction by the remaining gang members? What do you make of it? Is there a message they're sending?
Well, I understand, I don't follow cartels extremely closely, but I understand that in the past, when the government has taken out a senior cartel leader, this does tend to happen. They go out and they try to demonstrate that they're not cowed and that they're still a force to be reckoned with. So I think this was pretty predictable, and not a great surprise to anyone, although it does seem that the Mexican government underestimated this reaction, and then they had to send in the National Guard to try to reassert control, which presumably, hopefully, they should be able to do. Otherwise, Mexico's in much worse shape than we thought.
So why is President Trump's administration able to orchestrate this takedown of the cartel leaders? Why wasn't this done before already by previous administrations?
Well, I can't answer that. I think the Biden administration had a pretty close relationship with the previous president, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, what people called AMLO. Sheinbaum is his successor, same party, Moreno, that's run Mexico for years. And the Biden administration's biggest concern was to try to make sure that Mexico remained open to bring in as many illegal immigrants as possible from all over the rest of the world and the rest of Latin America. So the drug fight was lower down on their list of priorities. For the Trump administration, it's right up at the top. They've declared several cartels to be foreign terrorist organizations. They've set up a joint command with the U.S. military, and they're really going to take this, it seems, very seriously.
Okay, Simon, just one last question, a forward-looking question. I'm wondering if you're expecting the U.S. to work further with Mexico to tackle more of these cartels in the same vein?
Look, this is Mexico's fight, right? This is Mexico's problem. A century ago, things got so bad with Pancho Villa up in the north that we sent the U.S. Army under General Pershing to defeat him and teach them a lesson. I don't see that happening today. Mexico is a pretty advanced country. Obviously, they don't have the intelligence and military capacity that the United States have, or else they could have done this without our help. But this is Mexico's fight. This is a choice that the government has to make. And up to now, they do not, either they're not willing to do it, or they're getting too much out of cooperating with the cartels to take them down. So this could just be a symbolic gesture to appease the Trump administration, or potentially it could mark a change in policy where they are going to get more serious about trying to bring down the cartels.
Okay, very insightful analysis, Simon. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you.